Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, whether you're going to bed in Asia and you've heard the brilliant news about patisseries and bakery partnerships, whether you're in London like me, whether you're anywhere else in the world, hello, welcome to Match Day. I'm joined today for the first time on a live show by the Hotspur Cave. Jay, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy? Do you want to just tell everyone a little bit about your channel and how are you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Big
Always.
up the chat. Shout out the chat, man. Yeah, I'm Jay from the Hotspur Cave. I started the channel because I said, you know what? I feel like not enough fans speak how they really feel. I feel like there's a lot of just say what will make everyone else happy, and I'm not a fan of that. I say what I really think. I love this club and I want to see this club do well. And the only way this club can do well is if the fans start, demanding more. So I thought let's start a channel and see where it takes us. But yeah, man, you're always welcome over to come and subscribe. I do weekly shows, live streams, all of that stuff. So yeah, man, thank you again, Savva, for letting me be here, and let's talk some Spurs, man.
Always, man. Listen, everybody in the chat. If you listen, put him on trial. Let's see if you like what he's got to say. If you do, there is the link. Please go and subscribe. I always say to subscribe to every Spurs channel. Whether or not they hate me, like me, whether I like them or not, it doesn't matter. Show some love to the Spurs community. Big up to you, Jay. Right, this morning, guys and girls, it is match day. We are in a cup semi-final, although the vibe around the club doesn't feel like that. Lots to talk about, Jay. We have got, as I said, flippantly in my beginning, we have got Spurs decided that at midnight, last night, stroke this morning, whichever way you look at the time, Spurs decided to announce a partnership with a South Korean bakery called Paris Baguette. We will talk about that and how it's typical of Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to talk about Liverpool in the Cup. We're also going to talk about a little bit about Arsenal, and we're going to come at it from the point of view of the number of Spurs fans who use Arteta as their argument as to why Ange should be given 3 or 4 years when Arsenal fans are wanting that manager out for failing. And I can't help but see the irony in that their failure is a lot of our fans' benchmark of how long you give a manager. We'll talk about that. Also, a little bit about the whole West Ham situation. West Ham, a club that are 1 point behind us, that look like they're going to sack their manager today. Have West Ham got more ambition and standards than Spurs? So look, where to begin, Jay? Big up to everyone in the chat. Good morning. I can see some of the usuals. Look, let's start this as we mean to go on. There's nearly 100 of you in here. I'm sure this will go to 300, 400, 500 as we go. But please smash the likes. Come on, let's not do this game where I have to ask and it's all very embarrassing. Hey, it is what it is. Jay, let's start with Liverpool, right? Let's be unlike Spurs and actually start with the football. Liverpool at home, lots of talk about, well, Ange can't have been sacked because he deserves to see out the semi-final. That's one of the narratives flying around, Jay. Liverpool at home, Man United showed at the weekend that if you are defensively switched on, if you plug the gaps, if you stop Mo Salah and Gakpo and Diaz playing, that there is something to be had there. My first question to you is, will Ange watch things like that and adapt, or are you expecting more of the same? Let's just bomb forward. Don't worry about the back.
Listen, he's never going to change. He will never change. I'm so sorry. But it's like, I have to be honest. I've seen enough from this manager to know that he is too stubborn to change. I think no matter, we could be playing with 9 under 18s and he'd still play the same way. Do you know what I mean? Yep. It's just who he is, man. It's just who he is. And, again, I don't like this narrative where a manager can't be sacked. Look, we've just seen AC Milan's manager come in and win a cup in 2 games. What was it? 2 games? 4 games?
Yeah, so 2 games.
Exactly. So it's like, I'm not a fan of this narrative that you can't sack a manager. He has to see out the cup final, because we've seen other teams sack their manager and managers come in and win cups straight away.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I feel like what happens is when you get some fans, like, I mean, me, I'm not going to put you in that bucket. It's up for you to tell people how you feel. But when you get fans like me, like I always say me, like Stel, like Danny, like Mr. Box Office, when we turn around and go, right, this manager's got to go, and people, it's almost like somebody's written a book of 10 excuses that those fans then want to use on rotation as to the excuse for not sacking a manager. Who could come in? Well, I don't know. Conceição was sitting there. Conceição was taken by Milan, who are one of the biggest clubs in the world. They bring him in, and their first two results are beating Juventus and then beating Inter Milan after being 2-0 down. And you think, so there are managers out there. There are people that can come in and make a difference. Even if you look at Nottingham Forest manager, yes, so Nottingham Forest manager, a Wolves manager. Yes, they lost to Forest, but he came in the first 3 games. He stopped the rot, 7 points from 9, and suddenly Wolves went from, we're really near Southampton to actually we're now outside the bottom 3, and it gives us more of a fighting chance. Jay, look, tonight we know how Liverpool play. Yeah. We know what they want to do. We know that they're going to be solid through midfield, and that the aim is get the ball to Gakpo out wide, get the ball to Diaz through the middle quickly, get it to Salah. We know how they want to play. If you're Arne Slot, are you telling your team tonight, just go and do what you did in the league game? Are you expecting that type of rhetoric from Liverpool, that they know how to beat us now? Or do you think they'll mix it up? What are you expecting from them team-wise?
I think they'll mix up the squad. I think they'll probably want to rest a few players. And the reason why I say that is because our squad is depleted. And I think, to be honest, it really just depends on how strong we go. I'm not sure. I've seen a few things that a few players may be doubtful for the game. But in terms of how they're going to play, honestly, I think Arne Slot's probably telling them first 10, 20 minutes, just be focused, stay focused, stay concentrated. Because let's be honest, in the first 10 minutes of every game, we come out the traps flying, with everyone's got energy, everyone's bombing forward, everyone's zipping passes through and making runs and whatnot. And usually we get a goal. But other than that, I think Liverpool, they've just got so much quality in that team, man. It's like they could rest so many of their players, and we've seen their young players come in and do it, especially in a final. They've come in and done a job. So, yeah, man, I don't think Slot will have any problem rotating his squad today.
I mean, the interesting thing is that lots of the reports are suggesting, I always say a lot of reports because I never say for sure. I don't know. I'm just a football fan like you. We're just talking football. But a lot of the reports are suggesting that he will rotate in some way. But at the same time, Liverpool's game at the weekend, it's not a big Premier League game for them. It's not like they've got to rest because they've got Man City coming up or Chelsea. They've got Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup. So if I'm Arne Slot, I'll be honest, if I'm Slot, I'm looking and thinking, right, like most managers, like what Pep did and Ancelotti and Klopp. It's like, well, this is my first chance to win a trophy. Why not go strong? Why not go strong? And then for me, I'd rest my players for Accrington Stanley than Tottenham Hotspur away. But look, we'll see on that front. But let's be fair, Jay. When we're talking about players coming in for Liverpool, we're talking about players coming in like Diogo Jota. We're talking about players like Quansah, Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott. We're talking about good footballers, Jay, right? It's not a drop-off to loads of 18-year-old kids that we can be proud of. It's dropping off to good seasoned pros, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. They've just got so much quality in their team, and you can call it good, whether you call it good transfer business or just, having the right recruitment. It really just goes to show what having a good, competent manager can do. A manager that knows how to coach a group of players. Because, I mean, you can look at a few players in their squad that last season you probably would have said, sell him. He's not good enough. Cody Gakpo being one of them. We're seeing now, this season, he's looked like one of Liverpool's standout players. Luis Diaz become more consistent. He's scoring on a regular basis now, so he's getting that output as well. Salah's just Salah. Does Salah things. I mean, There is one little weakness in the team that I've always thought, but I mean, he knows how to pick the lock. And as much as he may be a weakness for Liverpool, he can exploit our weaknesses, and that's Trent. You know, that ball over the top, that is our worst enemy at the moment. That ball over the top for Salah, out wide. You know, we've got fullback. I don't even know who's going to play at fullback tonight. I think maybe Regulon.
Well, look, let's look at what we've got available tonight. I mean, for me, I think it's probably going to look at Kinski in goal. There's all the reports are saying that he's starting. Kinski in goal. I think it's going to be Porro, Gray, Dragoshin, and Spence. Then Sarr and Maddison are suspended, so that tells you it's going to be what? If he goes strong, it's going to be Basuma and Bentancur with Kulu in the hole. On the right is going to be Johnson. Up front is going to be Solanke, and on the left is going to be Son. Maybe Bergvall finds a way into the team. But look, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Jay. And the worrying thing about two nobodies, and I mean this respectfully, me and you, we're nobodies. We're football fans, right? In the grand scheme of things, we're nobodies when it comes to football, right? Don't take that offensively, because I've put myself in there as well. We can sit here as fans and go, well, we know how to get at Tottenham. And not just how to get at Tottenham, but how you punish Tottenham. The manager's seen it and has not adapted once. And this is the big thing for me. When fans want to use this excuse about injuries, I saw the manager yesterday in a press conference say 10 first-team injuries. And I'm sitting there going to myself, is this true, Ange? Do we have 10 first-team players out injured? Second of all, no one ever says to him, yeah, Ange, okay, you've got players out injured, but surely doesn't that make you go a little bit tighter? Doesn't that make you assess the players you've got and say, right, I'm not going to play out the back. I'm not going to go gung-ho. I'm not going to go all out attack. You know what I mean? Like, this is the difference for me, Jay, between top managers or not. And I want to use an example. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Eddie Howe. Have been for years. I think what he did at Bournemouth, I think people, all they remember is Eddie Howe got relegated. That's all they remember. They don't remember that he took them from League Two all the way through to the Premier League in about 6-7 seasons or whatever it was, 5 seasons, whatever it was. Turned them into a top half Premier League team fighting for Europe, right? That, for me, not just any old manager does that, because managers never do that, right? Eddie Howe, what I love about him, if you watch Newcastle, they've won 7 games in a row. But what they do is the same thing, Jay, every game. Newcastle come out the first half and they attack. They come out, they overload, they attack in numbers. They get Hall, Trippier, whoever, Livramento, whoever the fullbacks are, Gordon, Murphy, Isak, Joelinton, they all get forward and they score goals and overload. They go in at half-time winning. And then the second half, every game I watch Newcastle, they're a little bit more reserved. They're a little bit more, you know what, we don't have to chase the game. And they are so well organised defensively, structured well through midfield, that they say to teams, come on, break us down. Arsenal couldn't. We couldn't. Man United couldn't. That's just the last 3 games. What would you give to have a manager that could do that? A manager that understands you don't just have to be attacking 90 minutes of the game.
Again, spot on, man. Because, listen, the problem with Tottenham fans is that I think everyone thinks we just want to be right. I'd love to be wrong. In fact, I hope that I'm wrong and can bring us all this success that everyone keeps talking about. However, the truth is, right, we got Conte out because, again, he was too defensive. Everyone said he wouldn't change. He was a dinosaur and whatnot. Now we've gone the complete opposite side, and now it's overly attacking. I just want a bit of balance. And we spoke about this last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Balance, you know?
Balance.
It is so important. And yeah, I'd give an arm and a leg to see a manager come in and actually provide us with balance and be able to bring success. You know, I don't like this narrative where, I don't know if you've heard it as well, everyone's saying they would take 14th and a cup, and it's like, why can't we finish high and get a cup as well? Like, where's the ambition? Why is it 14th and a cup?
Because we're so starved as a fan base That look, no other fan base talks like this. No other fan base says, "I don't mind finishing 14th as long as we win a cup." For me, if we finish 14th and win a cup, for me, what that tells you is we've just been fluky. What that tells you is actually we're not very good. To finish 14th in the league, that tells me we're not very good, and we managed to get ourselves up for a few cup games. I want to win a cup more than anyone, Jay. Right? I'm sure I say more than anyone. There are millions of us that want to win a cup, but I don't want to say, "Oh, well, I'm happy if we finish 15th but win a cup." What does that say about us? What are we, Wigan? What are we? Is this when Swansea, when they won a trophy? Is this what this has come to? That we are, well, we'll win a cup, but we'll finish 14th. No. If this manager is anywhere near 13th or 14th with 10 games to go at the end of the season, he's got to be sacked. Surely. He should be sacked now, Jay, if we're being brutally honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the numbers and everything, which Tottenham fans refuse to look at, it's always context. Well, guys, the context is we've lost 10 games and we're in January and we're on course to lose 18 games. The context is he's picked up 30 points from 27 games. The context is he's the first manager in Premier League history to concede the first goal in 15 Premier League home games. That's your context, guys. So when we're sitting here talking about, give him till the end of the season. Look, if we can go out there and pay the manager the right money, pay him the money, bring in a solid manager and actually let him, work with this pile of players that we've got, then cool. But I reckon, cool. We'll take it to the end of the season, but then it's thank you, see you later, mate.
Well, I mean, on your point there, he's got 30 points from his last 81 available. What makes me laugh about that, right, is everyone who keeps talking about just the injuries, 30 from 81. Like, for 81 points that we've had available, we haven't had injuries in all those games. So why is it so bad, right? It's just absolutely crazy. I mean, look, when I look at tonight, if I'm a Liverpool player, I think the worst thing for me as a Spurs fan is those Liverpool players. I don't even think they're going to be intimidated coming to White Hart Lane. I don't think they're going to look at it and go, bloody hell, because I think, who is it? My mate's a Leicester fan, right? And no, was it Leicester? Was it my Leicester mate who said it? And one of my mates who said it, who went to an away game at Spurs last season, said Spurs' stadium is absolutely beautiful. There's no getting away from it, right? What Daniel Levy's built on that side is amazing, but it doesn't strike fear into anybody. It's almost very welcoming. Hi, welcome. Have a really nice baguette from Asia. Right? Hi, look at our lovely pictures of Beyonce and Lady Gaga all around the stadium. Look how clean everything is. Welcome. Here's our Dyson hand dryers in the toilets. Nothing about the stadium suggests top club, scary, difficult away ground to go to. And on the pitch, those Liverpool players will know we're gonna have loads of chances. Whether Van der Ven and Romero play or not, we're having a lot of chances. And if you're an away player, Jay, are you thinking that? Are you thinking I'm going to fill my boots here like they did in the 6-3?
I mean, if I'm an away player, I'm thinking tonight's my time to put on a show in front of 63,000 people, man. Do you know what I mean? Because, look, that stadium, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's a day out. Let's just be honest, guys. It's not just a football stadium. Football is just something that happens to happen there throughout a period of the year. Do you know, I'm just being brutally honest, guys. Do you know? Even when you're in the stadium, I happen to go to a lot of home games. When I say soulless, I don't want to say soulless because the South Stand is absolutely brilliant. They make a lot of noise. They're the only, a lot of the time, they're the only side of people singing in the stadium. However, it's like, people are asking, are there penalty shootouts in a Europa League group stage league phase game? And I'm just thinking, what's going on here? This isn't a tourist attraction. We're meant to be a football club. You look at Palace. Yeah, cool. They may not be the greatest team, but those are away ground. Palace, even Ipswich's ground. These are grounds that you go to and you think, right, we need to be. When you come to our ground, you can hear the away end over the home end
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Because look how big the away end is. I think there's like 3,000, 4,000 away seats. So yeah, man.
No, it's madness, isn't it? By the way, I'll tell you what, one of the problems of being on YouTube is you get everybody in the world sends you WhatsApp links to Instagram pictures and TikTok and X, and the number of stuff I've been sent already this morning. What makes me laugh is I've seen a Spurs YouTuber that last week did a video on why Ange must stay, why he must be given time, why it doesn't matter how much money he's spent. It takes time, and he's only had 18 months. That very same YouTuber this morning has put out a post saying, this is the end of Lopetegui's reign, probably the right decision with the amount of money they spent. And when you think, hang on, hang on. When you applied that logic to Tottenham, it was, he needs time. Listen, I think Lopetegui should be sacked, but I'm also not going to be pot kettle black. I think Ange should be sacked as well. I find it hilarious that with football fans, when you look at things in a bubble, Jay, right? And I always do this, and I think a lot of Spurs fans hate me for this. I always look at our situation and I apply it to another club. So when I always say, look how bad we're doing, 29 points, 30 points in 81, I always say, if Arsenal were doing that, we'd be laughing. Yeah. If Arsenal were doing that, we'd be laughing, right? If Chelsea were doing that, we'd be saying that's the end of their club. They're dreadful. They're finished, right? When Spurs are doing it, it's trust the process, project, plan, youth. Like, I genuinely think the standards in this fan base have gone so low, Jay, that it doesn't matter that this is statistically the worst manager for 27 years. They just want to save face and double down on how wrong they've been. No one can come out and go, you know what? Yeah, listen, I tried backing him, but bloody hell, it's shit. Right? They double down. Yeah, I've backed him. Yeah. And I still think he'll turn it around. Based on what? Because I backed my club. But it's not an answer. Is that an answer, Jay? I backed my club.
Listen, I backed my club, right? And it's funny you mention that, because what a lot of Tottenham fans now, and Ange-ins, I'm going to call them, what a lot of Ange-ins have been doing, right? They're saying, you guys just want us to lose games and so be terrible so that Ange can get sacked. And but the injury crisis it's not Ange's fault. Well, let's look at it. Let's really look at it. 2021, Celtic suffered with, I think it was 8 first 11 players out, all with muscle injuries. And Ange come out and said, yes, it's down. It is his fault due to the high demand of his training. So now, why is it at Tottenham? Now it's not his fault. Now it's just a coincidence, because it's just a coincidence that our players are always getting reoccurring the same injuries. Now, yes, maybe Ange might be looking at his medical team and thinking, what's going on here? Do you know? But I'm looking at Ange and thinking, we're playing 3 games a week, and every week you want these players to be running at 100 miles an hour for 90 minutes, but you're expecting them to stay fit for 40, 45, 50 games a season. Are you crazy? Yeah. Like, are you not seeing what we're seeing? Is it not obvious?
Yeah, mate, this is the key thing for me. It's like he sits there in press conferences and says, we've got loads of injuries. No one ever says, yeah, but Ange, the stats show that before the injuries, that your team wasn't doing well. Before we had these injuries, Jay, it was our worst start to a Premier League season for 20 years. Right? Everyone just conveniently forgets that. I truly feel that there's a lot of human adults out there, right, that have not got the ability to look at evidence. And when people like me and you do, we're told, but that suits your narrative. Well, my narrative isn't that I want Spurs to lose. My narrative is, look at the last 15 months. Look at the last year and a half under this manager. It is crap. It is awful under this manager. And no one ever seems to say, right, so the question I'd ask is, right, Ange, well, when Van der Ven and Romero come back in defence, does that mean you're going to change tactically? No one questions the tactics. It's just literally injuries, right? But before the injuries, you were losing more games in a calendar year than any other Spurs manager. Why is that? And the same fans that said we're going to finish second, we're going to finish third. It's a look how great Bergvall and Gray are going to be. When some of us said, yeah, they're young, they're not ready yet. Now, suddenly it's, oh, but we've got to use youngsters. Well, hang on. You guys were craving that in the summer. In the summer, you guys were waxing lyrical about having these kids and how ready they are to tear up the Premier League. Exactly. I don't get anything, Jay. Look, what are you expecting tonight in terms of, it's a first leg, but you know that Ange will have no common sense to it. You know it's just going to be all out attack trying to win the game. What do you think the score's going to be? How can you see the game panning out?
I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. I don't think we will win this game. I know everyone thinks that, oh, you know, Ange has done it before. He's pulled off shock results and you know, against City, and look at what he did against Villa and all of that stuff. And I'm just there like, guys, what are you looking at? Like, what are we watching? Are we not watching the same Tottenham? I'm expecting Ange to go out there tonight and just throw everything at it. And Liverpool will exploit that, as many other teams in this league have exploited us this season. And I mean, the starting 11, I mean, I'm hoping that, you know, some of the players are back, but I'm just going through the motions at this point. That's why I'm so disconnected, Savva.
No, but mate, absolutely. By the way, I'm really disconnected from 294 people in the chat and only 94 likes. That is terrible. And I truly believe this man sitting next to me, camera-wise, deserves some subscribers. So please, I've put his link in the chat. Guys, at the moment, Jay's just started his channel and is currently sitting on 163 subscribers. Surely between the 300 people in it, we can get him up to 200 at least. There is the link again in the chat. Come on, guys and girls. We all pride ourselves over here on Football Heritage TV of supporting people. We know we don't make videos knocking others. We want to put some fire in the belly of the community and get more people going high. I'm not these people that need to make videos about other channels. I've seen videos about me in the last week on other channels. People saying they would never stream with me because I'm a YouTube hater. I find that really, really funny. When I challenge those people to football debates, they don't want to talk football. You know why? They can't. They can't talk football. They want to talk, I'm a better fan because I just get behind my club. Well, I'm sorry. I've been a fan of this club for 40 years, and I always want the club to do well. I just can't stand this manager, and the results are showing you how bad he is. Jay, I want to talk about this. First and foremost, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, Arteta's press conference last night. I don't know if you've seen this, where he blamed, not blamed per se, but he came out and said, oh, well, you know, the football was different to what we use in the Premier League. I mean, that's when I think you see a manager starting to struggle. But the reason I bring up Arteta is this. I sent this last night to Stel. This is what I sent. Where is it? I sent this, everybody, to Stel. I promise you. Ask him. By the way, Stel and I got a show today, 5 till 6. It's called Savva and Stel Ask Us Anything. I'm going to promote it a few hours beforehand. Put in your questions. We will answer them. So put the questions in before the show, and I will put them on YouTube, and we will answer them. And then at 6:30, we've got the live watch along. This is what I sent to Stel. I said to him, the funny thing is, when fans say Ange needs the time Arteta has had, let that sink in. This failure that Arsenal fans want out is being used as the benchmark by so many Spurs fans. And what I mean by this, Jay, is how many Spurs fans have you ever had a debate with where they go, look at Arteta in his first 2 years? You're like, yeah, but what? Arteta in that, since that first 2 years is when he won a trophy. The 3 years after that 2 years, he's failed to get over the line. Now they want him out. Do you see what I'm saying there in that comment?
No, absolutely, man. Like, there is no Tottenham fan on earth that should be sitting here and saying, look at what Arteta's done. Because in reality, he came into Arsenal when they were already doing well in that. He had pretty much a straight road to the final of the FA Cup, right? And again, he hasn't brought them any real success at the end of the day. I mean, 2 community shields, which they're calling, English Super Cups. Weird fans. But yeah, he hasn't brought them any success. So when you sit there and say, but look at what Arteta's doing. No. Look at what Klopp did in his first 2-3 seasons. Liverpool were absolute. When Klopp took over Liverpool, they were at the verge of competing, maybe, but they needed something to kick them on, and that was Klopp. When we sacked Conte, we were sacked 4th, right? We brought Ange in, and we finished 5th in that first season. It was fair to say it was a bit of an up and down season, but we finished 5th, which most people would say is fair, as a fair position for Tottenham to finish, with the players that they have available to them, the money that they spend, and the manager, right? Cool. Instead of kicking on from that and saying, you know what, now we go for the cups and we push on in the league, so we bring in quality, what happens? We don't do anything. We don't do anything. And now we're sat here in, 12th on 24 points, saying, can we get 40 points for the season? I mean, Savva, what world are we living in where Tottenham need 40 points for the season?
Do you know what I find hilarious is, by the way, Jay, you've just had a nice little influx of subscribers there, my friend. We've gone straight up to 184. If we can get 16 more to get Jay to 200, come on, people. This is how YouTubers grow. That first 1,000 is so important. I mean, this is something I hear a lot. Allow Ange the second half of the season. If we don't improve, then I'll back Ange out. I mean, Jace, I'd love to know from somebody like you. Big up to you, my man. But I'd just love to know, when people say they're still on his side, based on what? His press conferences are awful. He's rude to reporters. His tactics are dreadful. His substitutions are woeful. He doesn't know how to change a game. I just don't get it. This whole allow him the second half of the season. I don't need to allow him. By the way, Jay, when people say this, first and foremost, we don't make the decision. Like, when we're saying allow him, it's not my decision. I just want him out, right? At the end of the day, if West Ham are going to sack their manager for starting terribly, and they're meant to be nowhere near us according to our fan base in the summer, when I turned around, I said, I think West Ham have made some good signings. I think they've got a decent squad. But I said, I don't like their manager. I picked, they're rubbish players. West Ham are about to show more ambition and more standards than we are, Jay. Everton are looking at sacking their manager, right? Spurs fans, don't worry about it. Just leave him there. Just leave him there. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, because it's this, you see, and this is a common thing with a lot of football fans, not even just at our club, but in a lot of football clubs, where you value the manager and you love the manager more than you love the club, you know?
Yeah.
If you love Tottenham Hotspur, you will look at the position that we're in and it will hurt your pride. Do you know how much it hurts my soul? Sometimes I actually sit down and I have to look back and just look at times where I think we were high and flying, because there's no joy. Look, the festive period has just passed, and most people didn't even want to watch Spurs over the Christmas and over the New Year's, because it was just going to ruin their New Year's. Like, I'm just being honest. And when you see clubs like West Ham, Wolves, sacking their manager, AC Milan, they go out and bring in a new manager. These other teams are showing ambition. I don't care that it's mid-season, okay? Now, yes, guys. Some of us do want to say, you know what? Let's give him to the end of the season, just because we don't want Ryan Mason, okay? We don't want Ryan Mason. Mm-hmm. But then this is what trickles up to the bigger problem, because everyone thinks that we're defending Daniel Levy. We're Ange out, so we're defending Daniel Levy. No. We still don't like Daniel Levy. However, Ange is in control of the players on the pitch and the results that we get. That's not on Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy's job is to bring in players, so we will scold him for that. Do
you know what, Jay? Absolutely spot on. I hate this. If you want Ange out, then you like Levy. Now, as somebody who's been, I don't know, Jay, how old are you, mate? How old? I'm guessing you're a lot younger than me.
21. Yeah.
Oh, mate, you lucky git. Right. So you were born in 2002? No. 2002. Just to put this into context, Jay. So when you were 5 years old is when I started being Levy out, right? So in 2007 is when I started being Levy out. But because I don't like this manager, what I get a lot of, and by the way, big up Laszlo. Yes, absolutely. Jay is 12 away from 200 now. When I say I'm Levy out, I'm Ange out, it's, oh, you must like Levy. Now, listen, whether or not we would get Mason for a little bit, or whether we'd get another manager, for me, that doesn't change the fact that this manager's doing a terrible job. I think what we're doing is we're wrapping a number of issues in to the club rather than having a look at, well, hang on, the manager's doing shit. And for me, I'm gonna spin this injuries narrative on the head, Jay. I think all these people that are using the injury narrative as to why we're not doing well, I think the injury narrative is saving Ange's bacon. I think the injury narrative is actually saving him from how bad a manager he is. Now, he might nick a cup, right? I've seen one day Ramos nick us a cup. He was sacked the next season. I've seen George Graham nick us a cup. Yeah. He was sacked the next season. So all of this, yeah, you can win us a cup, and yeah, I'll be eternally grateful. But that doesn't suddenly make me think he's a good manager. Look, I don't get it. I just don't get it. The same people that are now laughing. Look at the Spurs fans laughing at Arsenal last night. Are the same Spurs fans saying to me, yeah, but look at Arteta. Look how long it took Arteta. Well, hang on. You're now laughing at him. What are we doing here? We just I don't get it. Jay, I want to move on to something else. No, Petro, it hasn't been 33 minutes of sacking Ange. That's a complete lie. We talked about Liverpool. So that's not true. Where's our solution? People like Petro, these people crack me up, Jay. Where's your solution? Doesn't matter how many times you offer a solution, they ignore it and say, where's your solution? Who are you bringing in? I named 10, 15 managers, but where's your solution? People like Petro have the club they deserve. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it. I know people will say that's horrible and I can't talk to fans like that. I bloody can, because of the amount of shit I take off fans every day. Look, at the end of the day, as I said, for me, I want the best for Tottenham. I don't support Angepostecoglou. I don't support, and take this in the right way, I don't support Kulu, Romero, Madison. I support Tottenham Hotspur. These players will come and go. This manager will come and go. We will be here. We will be here, Jay, when these managers come and go and when these players come and go, right? That's why it's not just get behind the club for me. But look, I want to talk about, let's look at Levy. Let's look a little bit at the club and the marketing and stuff like that. And this stuff isn't the stuff on Ange. But Tottenham Hotspur, I would say you can't write it, but we're so bloody obvious. Tottenham Hotspur last night at midnight announced that the club is delighted to announce Paris Baguette as its new official coffee and bakery partner. The South Korean bakery chain will be integrating its coffee products into our matchday food and beverage menus, and will be working with the club to drive global brand awareness with a particular focus on Asia through activation, social media content and giveaways. Now, first and foremost, what a load of waffle that second part is, right? Now, already the skeptics among us are saying things like this. I saw this, Kieran, fair play, whoever this guy is, said, I don't care about Levy. He doesn't care about me. All I care about is boulangerie, right? Which I thought was quite funny. This one summed it up to me. By the way, I don't have X and I don't know this person. So big up to whoever Adam Sider is. I said, sums up my club, announces that the club capped him, contract extension. The club announced the contract extension, then uses said individual South Korean commercial value a few hours later to announce a new sponsor of coffee company based in his native country. Jay, it very much looks like that's what we've done. And I think people are catching on to, we announced it at midnight UK time when most English people are asleep. And the only reason I say English is because that's where Tottenham Hotspur are based. But that time, do you know what time midnight is in Asia, in South Korea?
I think it's early morning. Is it not early hours of the day?
It's 9 a.m., baby. It's 9 a.m. So Spurs have announced it for the South Korean market before they've realistically announced it for the UK market. How how pathetic is this club in terms of everything off the pitch we do is driven towards commercial. On the pitch, we've got no ambition at all.
It's a disgrace. I mean, listen, I understand. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance on this. I understand that the club care about making money. It's important. It's how you sustain and run a football club. And, you know, the facilities that we have to be maintained somehow, right? So the club have to make money. But the difference is, I feel like they sold us a dream about moving into this stadium. This stadium was supposed to be the key to success, you know. We are in it's a shopping centre, Savva. I'm being dead serious. Westfield Hotspur. It's a shopping centre because these owners are a joke. They knew exactly what they were doing. And listen, I mean, they give Sonny a contract extension. Why would you give the captain a 1 year when, you know, this is exactly what they did with Harry Kane? We'll extend you for a year. We'll extend you for a year. And then what's going to happen next summer, right? What's going to happen? We're going to be right back here again in 12 months saying, oh, are they going to extend Sonny? Are they going to extend Sonny? And then who knows? Who knows? Maybe they might open a South Korean fast food restaurant next year and so on and so forth, you know?
It's so funny. We don't back up the... Now, if yesterday it had been Spurs trigger the contract extension of Son. Now, if 5 hours later you then go, Spurs announce the signing of Milan Skriniar. Spurs announced the signing of Douglas Luiz. I'm just looking at players who are being touted about out there. Then you go, well, that's a good news day. But Sonny contract extension followed by, hey, we've partnered up with a South Korean patisserie. Now, listen, I've got no problem with any partnerships. You're right. It's how a club runs. It's how they make their money. But again, look how badly the PR and marketing have got it. Why was that not announced this morning at 9 a.m. for everyone in the country where Spurs are based waking up to? It's announced in Korea where they get the most, where they get revenue and market based. And then this calls into question, well, why has Sonny had his contract extended? Why was Yang bought? And maybe I'm doing a bit of a disservice to them. Maybe Yang will be the greatest player we've ever seen. But Daniel Levy doesn't tend to work in those circles. He tends to work in what's going to make us revenue. And then I'm not going to put that revenue into player wages. I'm not going to put that revenue onto the pitch. And mate, nothing surprises me. Like, I used to be angry by these things. Now I'm just looking at it going, Daniel Levy, you clever sod. You know what I mean? Daniel Levy is, I know we hate him, or some of us hate him. He's a genius. Daniel Levy is a genius, Jay.
Yeah, he is a genius, man. You know, you have to respect it. He's a top businessman, but that's all he will ever be, unfortunately. And look, I love my club. And some people say, oh, well, why don't you just stop going to games, right? Why don't you just stop going to games? And I had to think about this because I was one of those people. But again, people, this is what accountability looks like. I was one of those people who said, just stop going to games. But then I realized for a lot of these fans, this is their everything. This club and, you know, watching football, it means so much to them. And this is why when people say we want Levy in it kind of gets me angry because Daniel Levy doesn't care about Tottenham fans. That's the sad truth. Daniel Levy does not give a crap about Tottenham fans. There are little boys who are going to go home crying tonight at that stadium. I promise you. I promise you there are kids that are going to go home crying because they haven't seen us get to a semi-final and we're about to get walloped. You know, and Daniel Levy doesn't care about that because guess what? 2,000-3,000 people are in the club shop before the game and there's about 500 in the club shop after the game. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Jay, you watch how many are interviewed after the game. You watch how many people are interviewed. Defeat after defeat after the defeat. Yeah, it's all good. They're all having pints. Listen, by the way, I'm not saying what anyone should or shouldn't do. But when these people are interviewed, they're not even being interviewed. They're not even angry. Like, have your pint. Give Spurs more and more and more money. Have your chicken pie. Have your whatever they're selling. But It's like, yeah, oh, what a step. People, one of the first things they say, look at the stadium he's built. Why, as a football fan, do you, me, anybody else, why do we care how pretty a stadium looks? Like, how, when you wake up in the morning, Jay, what on earth does the stadium being the nicest in the world, what does that do for you as a fan?
Absolutely
What's it do?
nothing. I was
Right.
happy at the old White Hart Lane.
What's it do? Now, I get it, right? I completely understand. I'm not so out of touch that I don't get that everyone has to build and upscale their business and grow, and this brings in more revenue. But what we're seeing is that this chairman, we cannot deny this, turned around and said that by building this stadium, it will allow us to compete with the bigger teams. It will allow us to be competitive. That has not happened. Instead, we're slashing wage bills. So, yeah, my argument is people go, oh, Levy doesn't spend money. Levy spends money, all right. But Levy spends money on the caliber of player that doesn't get you to where he said we were going to go to be competitive, to be challenging. And he doesn't pay the wages, right? If you go and buy, there's a reason you buy Solanke. Yeah, big transfer fee. But what is he on, 90K a week? And I know that sounds absurd, Jay, because I'm guessing me and you are both not on 90K a week. But when you look at that, the top clubs are going to go and buy. Look, if Man City go and buy a striker, they're not putting him on 90K a week. Man City are going to go and buy a top striker, give him 200, 300, 400K a week, because that guy's going to be a difference maker as to whether you win trophies or not. We go and buy players like that, and our fan base go, oh, Solanke, what a good signing. And I'm not saying he's not a decent player, but you see the point I'm making. It's always that level. People say, oh, it's a youth project. It's a youth route. Why is it a youth route? Because how much is Gray being paid a week? How much is Bergvall getting? How much is Yang getting? How much is Odeberg getting a week? How much is Kinski going to be on a week? We can all turn around and say youth project. It's not like we're signing the best young players in the world and giving them 100K a week. We're signing potential young players and giving them 20, 15, 25, maybe 40 grand a week. That's what we're doing, Jay. And some fans cannot see it. They cannot see that that's what we're doing. And there's no wonder why we're doing this. There's no wonder why we're doing this. And Ange is part of that. So sorry, that's my rant over.
No, bro, you're spot on. And I look at it like this, right? I've always said that we're in a dictatorship at Tottenham. We're in a dictatorship. Daniel Levy is a dictator. He's Kim Jong-un. This is like North Korea at Tottenham, right? He isn't going anywhere, guys. We can scream Levy out, but if you've been to the stadium, you know that a lot of the staff now have been given the green light to remove people that are wearing, any Levy out any Levy out merch, any balloons, any T-shirts, they can be removed from the stadium and not be allowed back in now. So, that's why I said, guys, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Now, whether he decides to get a kick up the arse, maybe in some Tottenham fans' eyes, right? Finishing 14th, 15th might give Levy the boost that he needs to go and no. No, he'll just sack Ange and bring someone else in, and then they'll finish in a European spot, but he won't go out and back them in summer, and then we'll be right back here again in 18 months, because this is the cycle of Daniel Levy. This is what he does. There are no projects under Daniel Levy. The project is how much money can you make me while you're here, and if you're not making me enough money, then you gotta go.
I agree. And do you know what? This is why I think Ange isn't being sacked, if I'm brutally honest. The fans have settled for it's a youth project. I mean, first of all, I don't know whoever made up this phrase youth project, right? But the fans made up this term youth project. We want to see it through. But Daniel Levy wants to see it through as well. Why would he not? It costs him not a lot to run it compared to what other clubs are doing. Like, if Arsenal, Liverpool, right, City, if they had gone out in the summer and bought 4, 18, 19-year-olds, whatever, there's no way their fan base goes, we like this project. Their fans are kicking off. Their fans are going, what the F is this? Our fans, oh, I like it, because in 3-4 years' time, it's going to bear fruit. Oh, my gosh. We could say that at any point. So what I mean by that, Jay, is if in 2029, let's just go 4 years from now, if in 2029 Spurs win a couple of trophies and someone like Gray or Bergvall is still there, people will go, there you go. Remember Savva in 2024, the summer of 24, when you had a go? Look, there we go. And it makes no sense because things evolve, things change, different managers, different tactics, different players. Some players will work, some players won't. But this notion that we're going to put all these... Do people think that we're just going to suddenly go, right, Vuskovic, Kinski's going to go in goal, Vuskovic at centre-half, Adogi's going to grow into the best left-back in the world, Bergvall and Gray are going to grow into be our two main central midfielders, Yang and Moore are going to be our two wide men for years to come, Lancashire's going to be our striker. Do people truly believe that that's how we're going to progress as a football club? Do people truly believe that, Jay?
Yeah.
They do, don't they?
They genuinely do, man. It's sad because, Savva, it feels like you're screaming at a wall. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you're talking it feels like, you put your head in the pillow and you're screaming, because it's like no one understands, that there is no ambition at this club, unfortunately. Ambition is Tottenham and ambition, you can't even put them in the same sentence. People truly, truly, truly believe that, Savva. And look, I just find it funny at this point. People say we don't love our club because we're demanding that the standards be raised at this football club. Everyone says, oh, but we're not like Man City. Why not? Why not? Why not? I want my club to be the best. Isn't that what every football fan wants? Is that not what every football fan wants? And when I see that my club have no intention to be the best and they're just happy with being contenders, I'm going to call it out. And I have every right to call it out.
Yeah, and I think this is a wonderful point from Mark. I'm going to get some super chats in a bit, but I think this is a wonderful point. Our average squad age is 25, which it has been for the last 6 seasons, apart from 2012. I think that meant to say, is that meant to be 2021, 2022, when it was 24? So, yeah, I mean, listen, this is a good point because, Jay, one of the things I've always said, right, is loads of Spurs fans now, I can tell who supported the club for years and who hasn't. You can tell immediately by the way they talk about the club. Is, oh, this is exciting. We're doing something new. This new signing younger players and bringing them through to play with the senior players. Listen, I've supported Spurs for donkey's years. Spurs have done this. We did this with Aaron Lennon. We did this with Tommy Huddleston, Carl Walker, Carl Norton, Danny Rose, Jermaine Defoe, yada, yada, Gareth Bale, We've done this with so many players, but now this season is different. And Ange doesn't even want these young players. Ange is playing these young players because we've got injuries, right? Before we had injuries, I never saw Archie Gray getting a start in a league game. Before the injuries, I didn't see Lucas Bergvall getting starts in league games. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy. Look, I'm going to get some super chats quickly. Big up Craig Lee. Listen, great performance by your team. And we're going to talk about those tactics in a minute. Craig Lee, big Newcastle United fan. So big up Savva. Good luck tonight. Beware of the ball. Yes, Mikel Arteta warning everybody of these scary, dangerous League Cup balls that are used. Big up to you, Craig, and fair play. Your boys were absolutely superb last night. Big up to you. DB Forever with his customary super sticker. Thank you very much, my friend. What I will say is thank you to those guys. However, guys and girls, we haven't had one subscriber on the show so far today, which is really poor. Big up for all the people for subscribing to Jay. Big up to that. He is now only 8 away from 200. Please keep subscribing to me as we chase down 15,500. And on the likes front, only 145. Come on, guys. We should be well over 200.
Come on, guys.
I'm going to show you a comment here. This is where, and listen, everyone knows on my channel, I'm going to call out good, bad, and ugly comments. This comment is one that I find absolutely hilarious, right? This is a sort of comment I find hilarious. You know, when I always think somebody hasn't engaged this before they've used this to type. Right. You guys wanted Conte out because of play style. Well, not everyone did. I wanted him out. But now you've got attacking football and we can't play that as well. We want defensive again. Now, Jay, I can't begin to tell this person how badly this person's got everything here wrong, right? And how much they don't understand football or tactics. Just because I don't want gung-ho, all-out football that ignores defence doesn't mean I want a defensive manager. That is not the same thing. Jay said it earlier. The B word, balance. There has to be balance, right? And listen, I don't know how many times I have to defend myself on here, Jay. When I talked about Conte, I also said Antonio Conte signed an 18-month contract. That told me everything I needed to know about this guy is not right for the club. The club is not right for him. Antonio Conte doesn't come in and build teams. Build teams over years. Antonio Conte goes in and builds for now with top players that win leagues, right? So, yes, I didn't like his play style, but if you had given Antonio Conte all the players he needed to win stuff, I can let that go for a little bit. I can let that go and go, well, we're top of the league. We're winning trophies. But this notion that if you sack Ange, the next manager has to be defensive, Jay, it is bananas, isn't it? Isn't it absolutely bananas?
I mean, it just shows that they clearly don't watch football, because people are talking like Ange is the only attacking manager or only manager on the planet that knows how to attack. Like, maybe watch some football, you know, maybe watch other leagues instead of just watching the Premier League, because there are plenty of managers out there that can attack. And I said this on the last show. Again, we wanted Conte out because we would be 1-0 down and he would shut up shop and say, let's keep the 1-0 loss pretty. Let's keep it pretty, right? 1-0, okay, cool. Now we've got and it's like, oh, but they scored 6, but it's all right because we scored 3. It's like, Maybe you fans are just happy with being losers. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's if we lose, let's lose pretty. Let's
look at this
when we lose. And
look at this. This is telling. This is telling. You think, right? He scored a few more goals than Conte did, but concedes way more. And that's the reason why Conte never had us 12th, 3 points off 15th in the Premier League. That's why. Love him, hate him, whatever. That's why Conte didn't. Now, what I want a hybrid of the two. And that leads me on to my next point, Jay. Right? When you look at, I love managers like Eddie Howe. I really do. I think Eddie Howe's a fantastic manager. There's no chance Spurs get Eddie Howe now, by the way, because I don't think we're any more of a draw than Newcastle are. You know, I think years ago, we were more of a draw than Newcastle. Now, they look like a really well-oiled club, and we look like an absolute shambles. Eddie Howe, as I said before, he's got this habit of coming out in the first half of games, attacking. Second half goes a bit more conservative, counter-attacking. But what I love about that, Jay, it shows me he has coached his team to be able to float between the 2-3 styles of football. It shows you that his players are switched on, and it shows you that he's coached them. You watch Spurs, we don't look coached. And we always blame, but it's not Ange, it's individual errors. Yeah, but a lot of individual errors normally come from bad coaching. We play at 100 miles per hour for 90 minutes. We wonder why we get injuries. We wonder why we're wide open. People last night, Jay, were saying, yeah, but I saw people comforting themselves going, oh, yeah, but would you want Eddie Howe? Newcastle in the second half only had like 20% possession. Yeah, but they did all their work in the first half. I would love to see what happened last night. I'd love to see Spurs do that to a team. A team that is big. Listen, no offense to Newcastle. Arsenal are a bigger club than Newcastle and a better team. I know they didn't win last night, but they have been in league positions, trophies, whatever. Newcastle go away to one of the toughest away grounds in the country and do that. For me, Jake, that's what I want. I want a manager capable of doing that.
Yeah, and it's not even just about the manager as well. He's got a group of players that believe in what he's trying to do, that buy into what he's trying to do, you know, that understand their role. And even for me, it's almost like they take responsibility. They take responsibility. I'm sure Eddie Howe's not on the touchline doing, trying to land aeroplanes like Arteta, screaming at them, telling them to sit in now in the second half. The players instinctively know that, okay, right, we've got our first goal, we've got our goal. We know there's a second leg at St. James's Park, which is also a very tough away ground to go to, right? We've got our first goal. Let's protect our lead. And if we can, we'll nick another one if we need to. But let's sit in. Let's sit compact. Yeah. And yesterday, that's one thing I noticed. You didn't see Eddie Howe screaming much. Yeah, he stood up. He might have signalled. He's writing down these little notes. These are things I like to see from a manager. When you see hands on the touchline, it's always just hands in his pockets, just kind of just going through the motions. And I heard something. I don't know if you heard it as well, Savva, but he leaves. I heard that he leaves his training to his coaching staff. He doesn't even get involved in the training. He just comes out, says what needs to be said, then he goes back inside. And on a match day is when he comes in and talks. So he's not even actively running these training sessions. Do you know what I mean? So it's no surprise that these players look so lost. They look lost. A lot of these players look lost. Like they don't have a clue what's going on.
No, absolutely. By the way, everybody that's asking me in the chat for Jay's channel link, I've now pinned it. It's the pinned message on the show. Go and don't worry about subscribing to me for today. Go and subscribe to Jay. He's absolutely fantastic. And we're going to get him involved more and more on the channel, hopefully. He's on 195 subs. There's so many of you in here. Let's get that to 250. Come on, people. If everyone right now would go over there, click the link. You don't even have to leave this show to do it. It's pinned. The link is pinned in the chat. Smash that button. Subscribe to Jay and really help him as he goes on his journey. Jay, right? Sorry, Guy. Jay, what makes me laugh as well is what I loved about yesterday, what Eddie Howe did. Not only did they beat Arsenal, which was always fun, but I'm not one of those that goes in too hard on Arsenal and laughs because of how bad we are, right? I feel like people are sending me this morning, let's laugh at Arsenal. And I'm like, well, hang on. Before we laugh at them, let's laugh at ourselves. By the way, they've got up Tottenham's absentees right now. I'll come back to that in a second, Jay. Right now on Sky Sports. And it's showing the players that are out for Spurs. The funny thing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the players that are out are hamstring injuries, right? By the way, there's only 8 that are out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 8. There's not 10. And 4 of them that are 8. One is Mikey Moore, who was a kid. Richarlison, I love that the revisionism that now Richarlison's injured must be why we haven't got options. Ben Davis, who no one seems to ever really like anyway. And Wilson Odegaard, who's never done anything for the club. 5 of them are hamstrings. I just thought I'd bring that up because it's on the TV at the moment. Back to this. What I loved about last night, what he did, Jay, was when he realised second half, all right, we've tucked in a little bit. We're playing on the counter-attack, but Arsenal are building up a bit of a head of steam. You would expect Arsenal 2-0 down. You expect them to have all the ball to create chances. So what does Eddie Howe do? Eddie Howe takes off a striker, who was man of the match, by the way, in the game, takes off a striker, puts on Lloyd Kelly, goes to a back 3, tucks in Livramento and Hall to make it a back 5, and then goes to a solid 4, tight 4 in the middle, with Gordon as the outlet for the counterattacks. And I looked at that and I went, we would never do anything like that. This manager is incapable of mid-game going, stop. They're on top of us. Let's go to 3 at the back, stroke 5 at the back. And people are going, oh, Newcastle just defended. I thought they were excellent. I thought that was the most well-drilled team I've seen this season. I thought they were superb.
Yeah, no, they're brilliant. And you know what? The thing is for me, right? I know everyone seems to have a massive problem with this 5 at the back, 3 at the back. You don't even have to go to a 5 at the back, right? You can take off one of, you can go switch to it. We see Unai Emery do this all the time, right? He goes to a 4-4-2. He goes to a 4-4-2 and says, right, boys, sit in, man for man, right? Close the space, protect the space, but don't, they have a line that they don't break. And I noticed it a lot with Villa watching them this season, right? They have a line that they do not break. They will not, if they notice they're winning a game and the game's going out, they don't go into the opposition's attacking third. They just welly it forward. How many times have we seen the goalkeeper, right? And this is why I was quite impressed with Brandon Austin. There were points in the game where he just kicked the ball forward.
Yeah.
Just
Took
kick
the pressure
the ball
off.
forward.
Yep.
Take the pressure off everybody.
Yep.
Reset, start again. Even if you kick it out of play and it goes for a throw-in and the fans say, "Oi," at least we can reset and start again.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Jay, you're spot on. And Terry O'Shea, this is what I love. This is what Spurs fans seem to think we're the only fans of injuries. Look at this. So Newcastle had what? 6 first-team players out injured last night. Now, what people will start doing is going, yeah, but Emil Kraft isn't a first-team player. Wilson isn't a first. But we've done that with Ben Davis. We've done that with Richarlison. We've done that with Odegaard. It goes to show, doesn't it? Good managers coach. And Craig Lee, absolutely agree with you. I've always said it. Eddie Howe should have been the manager Spurs went for years ago, right? When we let go of Jose Mourinho. For me, that is where we should have gone, possibly even straight after Poch. But there's people in the chat saying things like Conte should have been given a 4-year contract and the open checkbook. I don't think these people understand. Antonio Conte's and Jose Mourinho's, you know what you're going to get. They don't go for 4 or 5-year projects. That's not what they do, right? That's not what they do. That's why when people say, oh, Pep Guardiola, what if he went to Spurs? Why would Pep Guardiola go to Spurs? Pep Guardiola's not there for some youth project for 5 years. Pep Guardiola's a winning manager. He wants to coach top players and make them better. It just makes me laugh. Listen, we're going into the last sort of 15, 17 minutes of the show. I just want to say, I'm sure Jay will as well, massive thank you to everybody that subscribed. We've now got him up to 216, 216, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so
much. Where he was. Please share. Listen, I don't watch a lot of YouTubers. I'm going to be honest. Sorry, guys. I don't watch a lot of YouTubers because there's so many channels I've attempted to tune into where they don't actually seem to talk about football. And that's fine. I'm not knocking it. People make their channel for what they want. But when I tune in, I want to watch people debate football. I want to watch people talk about tactics, coaching. I want to see people talking about substitutions and what to do to counter. I don't want to tune in and watch, yay, we're Spurs fans, just get behind the club. Absolute madness. Frandes Spaniard has said, Savva, I think individuals usually come from a bad player who can't play under pressure. Frandes, I agree. But if you've got players that can't play under pressure, don't play a style of football that puts them under pressure all of the game. It's really simple. Like Archie Gray, I felt sorry for Archie Gray at the weekend. Newcastle was swarming all over us and pressing us like mad. And we were asking him to play it out from the back. And Archie Gray, you could see a few times actually just kicked it out into touch. And I felt sorry for him. What's wrong with every now and then going, let's put that long diagonal into Solanke? Like, let's put that long diagonal into the channels for one of our wingers to... We don't do it. So, again, Papa Sarr, for me, is not a good footballer. He's got a brilliant engine. I think he's a brilliant player for what he does, but he's not an actual good footballer in terms of let's get the ball at his feet, get the passes going, right? But what do? We ask Papa Sarr to have a lot of the ball passing 10, 15, 20 yards. So when Papa Sarr gives the ball away a lot, we go, oh, he gives the ball away. Well, yeah, that's not his game.
His game is to crash the box. His game is to crash the box. We've seen it so many times with Pap. And he's not a great player, but he'll give you a 6 out of 10 every week, you know? He'll give you a 6. He's a steady Eddie, and you need steady Eddies in your team. But that was what Højbjerg was, you know? And I say that to all of that to say this. We got rid of Højbjerg, we got rid of Skippy, we got rid of Winks. Who did we bring in to replace those 3 midfielders, right?
Two kids.
And all of those midfielders were 6s. They were destroyers. So what does that mean? Ange has zero intention of defending his no pun intended, but defending his defenders. He's got no intention of protecting that back line. His only mindset and his only, thought is attack. I want to attack. I want to attack. And the problem is, right, when you want to attack, you leave yourself exposed. In boxing, if you just keep swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging, you leave yourself exposed. And this is the same analogy I've been using all season.
No, absolutely, I completely agree with you. I mean, when you look at the best pound for pound boxer there's ever been, I mean, I'm hearing from my mates who are big boxing fans. They talk about I've completely gone out of my mind. What's his name? Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather wasn't the most attacking, exciting boxer I've ever seen. In patches, he would explode. Most of the fight, he's not getting hit. Most of the fights, he's not getting hit, and he chose his moments. Done. You're done. Yeah. Other boxers, a little bit more wild, come out swinging. Look at what's his name? Huge American bloke. Why can't I think of his name? I think Fury fought him. Swings a lot. Guys in the chat will tell me. Really big American dude.
Help us out, man.
Someone help me out. Anyway, got when his punch lands, I think his arm is like the span of a plane. But when he lands a punch, you're out.
Deontay
Wilder. But when he's doing this, top boxers go, yeah, all right, mate. I know how to defend that. Look, back on to, by the way, do I think Newcastle are the best midfield in the league? Look, I would say that on paper, when you look at Rodri, De Bruyne, for example, obviously they're miles better. But what Eddie Howe has done has got the perfect blend in midfield. He's got Joe Linton, who is the perfect athlete. That man is built like a brick wall, has the energy to keep going all day, up and down, loves a tackle, loves arriving in the box late, right? Guimaraes is a little bit more of your silky, give me the ball, I'll probably be your kind of deep line playmaker quarterback. And Tonali, for me, is a great midfielder. I think this guy doesn't get talked about because of the whole betting thing. What a wonderful midfielder he is. I think he does everything well. He passes well. He tackles well. He sits in front of that back four. That midfield three, now look at ours. Whatever combination we have, we can't ever see what we saw last night from Newcastle's midfield. So, Jay, what do you make? The good midfield for Newcastle, that three?
I wouldn't say they have the best midfield in the league, but what I will say is that they have the most well-functional midfield in the league. I think they have the best operating midfield in the league in terms of the way the players play together and the way Eddie Howe is getting a tune out of them. Because listen, they all know they have a job and they help each other out. So many times I've seen Basuma isolated. I've seen Bentancur isolated. In that game, Bergvall, he's getting on the ball, getting his head up. Isolated. Everyone's flying, everyone's trying to do everything. It's so erratic, it's so pinball at Tottenham, right? And with Eddie Howe and Newcastle, this is how we're gonna play. We have it's almost like a movie. It's almost like you're watching a film, right? You kind of, it's going through the stages of the film, and then you get to the end of the film, full time, it's 3 points. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Big credit to big credit to Eddie Howe, man. He's a brilliant manager, man. And you know what? It would be nice to see. You know what? As much as it would pain me, them Newcastle fans, Newcastle fans are brilliant. They're brilliant, man. They deserve to see some success out their club because you know what? They're ambitious. And when they weren't performing, they called on Eddie Howe. They did call on Eddie Howe and they asked him questions. And now he is getting the results. You could say, yes, they had a worse injury crisis than us, to be fair. They had a worse injury crisis than us because you look at the size of our clubs and the players that we had at the time. Man. But yeah, credit to Newcastle.
Absolutely. Jeff G, big up to you. Said, morning, Savva. Your thoughts on Nuno's style at Forest? You know what? I mean, look, everyone's watched Forest more this season than normal, right? Because they've been flying up the table. When I watched them the other night, everyone keeps telling me they sit in a low block. I think what we're doing here, and this is only my opinion, Jay, you might disagree with me, others might disagree. When I watched them the other night against Wolves, I think what we do now in football is we confuse defensively solid units for being low blocks. When I watched Forest the other night, they weren't in a low block. Forest were almost a bit wide open at times. Forest were Wolves had loads of counter-attacks and breaks on them where, let's be fair, Wolves should have scored 2 or 3 in that game. But what I do like about Nottingham Forest tactics. Their back four is a back four. Their back four is solid. They all defend first and foremost. Aina, Williams, Murillo, and Milenkovic. Now, I had the debate the other day that someone was going, what, you'd rather Milenkovic than Romero? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I watch
absolutely.
Milenkovic every game. He is switched on. Every game, 100% switched on. Puts his head on everything. Will throw his body in front of everything. Marks his centre forward. All of this talk, people going, Romero's brilliant. I watch Milenkovic and go, I want that. I said, and by the way, this isn't revisionism. Said it last year. Milenkovic is available in the summer, and they're talking about 15 million, 12 million. We should be all over signings like that. But yeah, listen, I think Forest, Jeff, they're another club for me that when they need to sit in and hanker down and say, right, let's go low block, they will. But in other times, they'll go, right, let's come out and play. And again, Nuno's doing a brilliant job with what he's got. Because, Jeff, what I said at the beginning of the season, and I want to ask Jay about this. At the beginning of the season, if I had said to any Spurs fan, Jay, right, Spurs this year are going to swap squads with Nottingham Forest, you name me one Spurs fan that would have said, yeah, they've got a better squad than us, I'll take that.
I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. You couldn't tell me at the start of the season.
Right. Right. And that's it for me. So now all these people going, oh, yeah, but Nuno's got this. Nuno. Hang on. Whoa. Hang on. I remember in the summer, people go, wouldn't want Milenkovic. He wouldn't get in. He wouldn't get in our team. All right. Well, that's one of the main signings of the summer for them. Aina, they bought on a free, if I'm not wrong. They bought in the club on a free. Aina was free. Nico Williams was a bit part player at Liverpool. Right. Anderson was not getting games at Newcastle. I know some of the Newcastle fans didn't want to sell him, but he wasn't getting games at Newcastle. Yates, no one would want Yates of Nottingham Forest. I don't care what anyone says. People turn their noses up at Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood, but all of a sudden, they've got a better squad than us. Hang on. What? What? Like, the revisionism is absolutely staggering.
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually quite funny that everyone's saying they have a better squad than us now, because I thought that, I thought this was the best squad that we've had in ages. I thought everyone was telling me that, we've gotten over Harry Kane and we don't need Harry Kane anymore. We don't miss Harry Kane. That's what everyone was saying, right? But I guarantee you, if we had Harry Kane, we'd probably get us out of a few situations, because, he'd probably score more goals than Richarlison and Solanke. And you know what? I just want to say this, because I made a video about Richarlison, and I had a lot of people on Twitter trying to attack me for what I said. I said his time's up at this football club. And I stand by that. I don't know where you stand on it, Savva, but I stand by that, because I think his
time was up when he was at Everton. He should never have been at this football club. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly, because he can't stay fit, and this is the biggest problem. Tottenham fans sympathy. Yes, now listen, when he come out and did the mental health, the mental health thing. Listen, I'm a big advocate for men's mental health. If you are going through something, please reach out to someone and know that you aren't alone. And yeah, I am a big advocate for men's mental health, but I think that enabled the fans to become a bit too attached to Richarlison and forget that he is still an employee of the football club and he still has a job to do, and he's not doing that job at the moment. And we've been linked to Kolo Muani now, who I'm not a big fan of, but I know everyone else is over the moon at this new Angepostecoglou threat attacker. I'm like, no. But I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, listen, I completely agree. Look, first and foremost, listen, I do some charity work all the time for mental health charities, and I'm a huge fan of that. I think that's really, really important. But I don't want that to take away from the fact that I think Richarlison's a god-awful football player, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, anybody who's suffering in their life, I don't care whether they're, I don't care what their job is, from President of the United States through to, I don't know, working in a library. I don't know. Whatever you do, mental health's important. But as a footballer, I just don't think he's very, very good. I want to bring up a comment here, which for me, this absolutely cracks me up, Jay. This is hilarious. You've seen me on YouTube for however many weeks, months, however long you've seen me, right? And you see the shit I take for being a toxic, negative fan. Have a look at this. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I've got to call you out on this. The thing is, Savva, you've overrated our squad before the season started and all season since it's not very good, mate. I'm now accused of overrating our squad, but called toxic negative, right? Let's have a look, Jay. This cracked me up. And Jimmy, please be quiet. Stop with that nonsense. This is what I predicted and got absolutely destroyed, Jay, right? I was called negative, right? Look there. Forget all the other clubs. Look at Tottenham Hotspur. That was my prediction before the start of the season, 7th. Jay, do you know the hate and abuse I got for this prediction?
I do.
Right?
I do. Yeah.
The hate and abuse I got. And I've got now Jimmy going, you overrated us. What? I didn't think we were going to be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. How have I overrated us? The problem is, Jimmy, people like you like the revisionism. You like revisionism. I'm sorry, Jimmy. That is just, I'll call it out when I see it, right? You can't do that to me. I can't be the most negative, toxic fan in the fan base. Then I'm told I overrate our squad. 7th should be an absolute bare minimum of where this Tottenham squad finishes. I didn't see anyone in the summer saying to me, you've got a worse squad than Fulham. You've got a worse squad than Bournemouth. You've got a worse squad than Brighton. You've got a worse squad than Villa. You've got a worse squad than Nottingham Forest. You've got a worse squad than Brentford. No one said this. No one. Now the revisionism, because the league table, right, hang on, here we go. Look at this league table, right? Where are we? There we go. The revisionism is absolutely staggering. Look at the clubs above us. And I was told, what, you think Villa are going to finish above us? You think Fulham, you think Chelsea will finish above us, I was told. Nottingham Forest are above us. Right? Jimmy, come on, mate. Come on.
But by the way, Savva, just a quick one. We're 6 points off of Ipswich, by the way. Just right. That's your context. We'll just put that out there. 6 points off of Ipswich.
It's utter madness. Jimmy, but you can't say overrated the squad. This squad finished 5th last season. I put us 2 places below where we finished last year, and you think I overrate the squad. Just maybe, Jimmy, just maybe it's the manager. Just maybe it's the manager and his tactics, because look at Nottingham Forest. How are Nottingham Forest? Look, the fact I've got to scroll down to get Spurs in, Jay. I've got to scroll down to get Spurs in, right? There we go. The fact that Nottingham Forest are 16 points clear of Tottenham Hotspur, right? You are never going to tell me, Jay. No one in the world can convince me that they are 16 points better than us as a squad. What they've got is their manager has actually realised, what are our strengths? What are we good at? What works for us? What we've got is a manager that goes, I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to try this Ange vanity projects, and you guys are all going to like it. And half our fan base have gone, oh, we love this because we fly forward and attack. It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess, Jay.
No, I agree. It's a disgrace.
My door's gone. 1 second.
Disgrace. Yeah, no worries. Guys, listen. Look, what you need to understand here is it's not overrating. No one's overrated the squad. If anything, you fans, or not you guys in the chat, because a lot of you guys in the chat are smart. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys in the chat want success, and you want to know what it feels like to have to see armpits at the end of the season, not the top of people's heads when we're looking down. You know what I'm saying? Everyone sat there and said, oh, look at Bergvall. He's the best. Barcelona wanted him, so that means he must be the best thing since sliced bread. We've got Archie Gray. He was doing bits at Leeds, which, I quite like Archie Gray in terms of his temperament. I think he's very calm, even when he is under pressure. Even when he does make a mistake, he doesn't seem to react like the other players do. But everyone sat here and Solanke, which, again, another player that I'm a fan of, but the price tag I'm not a fan of. You know, everyone sat here and said, yeah, these are brilliant, 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 brilliant signings. And then now, all of a sudden, it's we've overrated the team. When I sat there and said, I don't want Lucas Bergvall at my club, I want a proper midfielder. I want a proper midfielder. I want a Danny Olmo. I want a Gibbs White. I got cooked. I got slandered into the ground. They said, how could you say that? How could you say that? Bayern Munich were in for him. Bayern Munich going for a lot of players. They went in for James Rodriguez. Look how many players have gone to Bayern and done nothing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like,
Yeah.
Come on, like, that's just complete ignorance. Like, the fans up there, who I'm going to call the Anjins, right? You guys was sitting here gassing up our squad and saying that we've got the best, the best attack in the league. The best attack in the league. We signed Werner again on loan. He's like a gun with no trigger. He can't shoot.
Agreed.
He's absolutely awful. But again, right? It's our fault. It's our fault. Now we're sat here with the only ones calling this crap out, and it's our fault, Savva, because we're too negative, brother. We're too negative.
Absolutely, Jay. And listen, we are going to end the show in a minute, and I'm going to transfer people over to Perchy, so please show some love. What I want to say is one last push. You guys have been absolutely brilliant today in terms of subscribing to Jay. I think he's got over, if I'm not wrong, 60 subscribers in the last hour and a half. So thank you so much, everybody, for that. I've even had 5 or 6 today as well. So thank you for that. On the likes front, we did manage in the end we're 6 away from 194. I got a super chat here from Michael who said, should Nuno have got the same backing as Ange? Look, I mean, Nuno, it felt very strange. He came and went so quick, like so quick that it felt there was more to it. But at the end of the day, Nuno actually did better than Ange if we're in his short time. But Michael, yeah, look, maybe he should have, maybe he shouldn't have. But what I will say is this, there's a couple of comments, one that counters the other here. Thank you so much, Michael, for the super chat. This one, I completely disagree. So when everyone overrated the team, I remember when people were sucking off Biss, Bentancur, and Maddison as a trio. We just have an overrated, no backburn, too nice squad. Mamba, I think a proper manager putting Bentancur, Basuma, and Maddison in a proper formation where they're not exposed and gung-ho should be a good midfield three. Now, whether or not we think that's a midfield three that goes and challenges Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool, but that midfield three, we've seen all of them be brilliant at other clubs, right? The difference is this manager doesn't know how to get them as a cohesive unit. At the moment, everybody's doing this gung-ho, running around like crazy job. You've got Basuma playing as a number 6 when he's not a number 6, putting out fires all over the pitch, rather than being the number 8 that gets the ball, turns and drives with it. He's a ball-carrying midfielder. We want him to be a number 6 that defends and starts off play. Right, you've got Bentancur that should be probably more sitting in that deep line position as the kind of quarterback. He's the best one on the ball. He's the best passer of the midfielders on the ball. And you've got James Maddison, who is a playmaker constantly in central midfield coming to get the ball because everybody's in his bloody space. So I disagree with that, right? And then this is what I agree to back on from that is Finn saying Forest are a well-drilled squad that are confident in their style of play. Finn, yes. If you get a manager that comes into Tottenham with a well-drilled style of play that coaches the players, suddenly I think we go, God, Bissouma's a good midfielder. God, Maddison's one of the best playmakers in the league. Do you know what I mean? But what we've got is we've got a manager that's got this reinventing the wheel project going on in his head. And then he says things like it's injuries and fans go, yeah, let's forget how crap we were before the injuries. It's injuries, right? And this, completely agree. So AP says tonight we will play our game. Right, so we know what to expect. Of course we do, and so do Liverpool. Listen, big up to everyone. Honestly, I can't win, Jay, as a YouTuber. As you get bigger as a YouTuber, you'll realise this, mate. If I had said Spurs will finish 3rd, people would have said I'm a happy clapper. If I say 7th, I overrate the score. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Morton Barley, just quickly, the last couple of messages have said, my team prediction is Kinski, Porro, Dragosin, Gray, Spence, Basuma, Bentancur, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke's son. Yeah, I think he's going to go with that. I really, really do. Chris Beresford has said, off topic, however, Jose is now odds on to be the next. I want him to go there. I love Jose Mourinho as a character. I want that guy back in the Premier League. He adds so much fun and bite, and I love it. I love it. I've heard this a lot this morning. Please,
There's
I mean, this
comment.
Sorry?
No, I said there's a comment. Joey Barton just put in something. People will soon be saying relegation's a bump in the road. That's funny. There's bumps in the road in the project and stuff. Yeah, that's funny.
Mate, honestly, look, this is what Jim is. I can tell he's Australian immediately. This is it. Big projects take time. Jim and no one else can tell me what the project is. Jay, do you know how many people I've asked what is the project? No one can answer me what the project is. It's absolutely crazy. It's a great buzzword. I love the entertainment of Jose. Jose Mourinho has been one of the greatest managers that ever managed in football, Jim. I'm starting to wonder whether you actually follow soccer. Like, I can't believe I said soccer. Why did I not say football? What's happened to me? Jose Mourinho is one of the greatest managers there's ever been. What are you talking about? The guy is a legend of football. Like him or not, he's a legend of football. Yes, and Daniel Harris to end the show. It's the V-shaped Savva. Yeah, we have to hit the bottom of the V apparently before we can get good again. And you just know, Jay, if Spurs get a draw or something tonight, it will be, there you go, Ange Ball, give him time. Don't worry that we've only won one of our last 9 games or whatever. It'll be that. Jay, thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed your chat and hopefully you'll come back on again.
Nah, listen, the pleasure's all mine. I appreciate everyone that subscribed to the channel. We are trying to grow. I do want to create a community of, Tottenham fans that we're realistic Tottenham fans where we just talk football. I do open shows as well for people that do like to call in and have their say because I feel like it's important. I feel like there's a lot of top creators that don't really speak for the masses. And I feel like it's good to give the masses their chance to say what they really feel. And yes, we will forever be Levy out, and Levy could take Ange with him. So yeah, no, Savva, really, really and truly, man, thank you for having me on the show. Thank you to everyone that subbed. And yeah, hopefully we can do this again, man. It was fun.
Mate, listen, if you want, we can make Wednesday mornings a morning chat with Savva every Wednesday morning with Jay, with the Tottenham Cave or the Hotspur Cave. Sorry, listen, we've got you 20 away from 250, so you're getting there, mate. You're getting there. Jim, it's not that your opinion isn't respected, but Jim, you never offer, as I keep saying to you, you never actually offer any insight. It's great. You do what the fluffy fans do. Back Ange, he'll change things. Cool. Tell me how. Don't get an answer. I never get any football answer as to what's going to change. You're backing Ange. Every week we lose, you just say, yeah, back Ange. It's not a football opinion, mate. An opinion is where you go, you know what? Ange will go bump, 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 bump. And you go, okay, why would he do that? You just say, back Ange and say, that's my opinion. People have got confused as to what opinions are. Big up to you, Jay. Guys and girls, I'll be back tonight. I've got many hours for you. 5 p.m. till about 6:15. Myself and Stel. It will be Savva and Stel. Yeah? Ask us anything. I will put the link in my community page. Please, if there's a question you want us to answer about football, guys, about movies or anything, put the question in. Stel and I will read out the best questions and answer them tonight at 5. Then I'll have a 15-minute break, and at 6:30, I will do the watch along for Tottenham Hotspur versus Liverpool, all the build up. So please join me at 5 o'clock. I'm going to chuck you all over to Perchy now. Sorry that I overran a little bit, Perchy. Take care. And as always, Ange out, Levy out, and come on, you Spurs.